Hey, what's up and welcome back. So today I'm going to do some fixes and tweaks to the compact categorizer here. So we're just going to start out over here with the locking mechanism. This is what I had before, but it's kind of busted and you're definitely going to want to change this. So first we're just going to knock out that. We don't want to actually be locking that. We're going to power it by powering this rail down here. And so when you turn it off, the cart will stop here, and when you turn it on, it will let it continue. So we're just going to come down here, and the only other change we have to do is we have to get rid of this redstone block because we need it to be powered based on the state of the lever, and this will just constantly keep it powered. I'm going to take that out and put these back in here, which is going to flatten our rail right there. Sorry for the little glitchiness. My hard drive is 100% full, so yeah, it's having a hard time saving this to disk and it's causing a little lag. But yeah, anyway, that's that fixed. All right, now if you're on Bedrock, you're going to want to replace this glass block with a half slab because in Bedrock Edition, glass does not act as a diode, so it won't prevent the signal from going back down. However, half slabs do, and that's just one of the random inconsistencies with Bedrock. And then we're going to come down here. Some people have had problems where the cart goes through, it pulls out a filter item, and it either takes it to the end or it drops it in a different slice. And that is because the minecart is traveling underneath here a little bit too fast. So it's pulling the item out of the filter chest, and before it has time to unlock the hopper underneath, the cart has already moved on. So to fix that, this is mostly a bedrock issue. But if you just alternate your rails, that should probably slow it down enough. If it's still not slow enough, you might want to power every third rail. So if we kind of look down here, we see I've placed these blocks to power rails every other. So give that a shot, and that should fix that issue. So anyway, you just keep doing that all the way around. If you're in Java, most likely you won't have to do that. So then getting around to this point, your cart will get shot over here. It will start unloading. And we want to make sure that while it's unloading, your timer circuit is set up correctly. So make sure that this comparator here is set to subtract. And then over here, this has to be a comparator reading out of the clock. If this is a repeater, then you're going to have an infinite loop going around between this observer, the repeater, and back around like that. So it has to be a comparator. And if you're in Bedrock for some reason and that doesn't work, then you're going to need to replace this bottom block here with a server like so. And then that will make sure that you don't power back through here. It may cause a little more clicking, but that should be all right. And that should fix that issue. If you're having problems with your minecart not launching back off of this after it's unloaded, you're going to have to come to these repeaters and adjust the ticks. This should work for like 99% of people, but if for some reason it's not working, that might be the issue. So then your cart is going to come down here like so. Some people have had it where the cart is not picking up all its items again after they go through the filter and they're drained out. So to fix that, you're just going to extend this a little bit, right, like so. And you just make it a double chest, and then it has more time underneath the chest to pick those items back up. You're also going to want to make sure that this hopper is configured. Just throw pretty much any item that doesn't match one of the blocker items in the minecart, and it should be fine. I just like using unstackables because they're nice. Up here, we're going to have a glass block because you can see the cross over there for the clock. If this is a solid block, it will power through and power this rail, which will then shoot your stuff up early, and it will cause your items to not get sorted when they go up the elevator. Another issue is I saw people incorrectly configuring this filter. This has to be a blocker item that is the same one that you're using in your minecart. And then these are just filter items, and the filter items cannot match the blocker item. And then you're also going to want to put one blocker item in this bottom hopper right there. So then that brings us to the point where most people have been having trouble, and that is with these rail slowing mechanisms. So first thing, you're going to want to make sure that you have a normal rail between the detector rail and the powered rail. And otherwise, the detector rail will power the powered rails for a short period, basically negating the effect of the slowing mechanism. So basically you have it push over, create the clock, which is underneath the rail line, and then over on this side, it pushes back. So then we get to this corner, which a lot of other people had problems with. I think in my tutorial, I had another detector rail. You don't need that. So if you just set up the corner like this piston right here will get quasi-powered by this detector rail and then triggered by this other piston activating. So as a cart goes around, let's see if I can just actually show this. Let's grab a cart. It should work perfectly fine. So we see it gets slowed there, and then that will trigger both pistons, and it stops because I broke this before the pulsing, but you get the idea. And we'll just set that one back like so. Another issue is people were missing rails, especially these yellow line ones. So the rails have to extend all the way so that they're even with the detector rail that will be triggering them. So some people were missing this like that. And especially in this corner because I didn't get to it until the end of the tutorial. So you're going to make sure you place it like so. And again, over here, people were missing that one. So another issue is that this wasn't enough slowing for people. So sometimes you have to basically duplicate this corner over on this side and add another set of slowing mechanisms. Then some people build a straight line, and you actually have to do that a little bit differently. It's mostly the same. But you can see we have the detector rail triggering the piston, which creates the clock, and it goes along here. And again, we've got back-to-back pistons, so we can use just one detector rail, and that sets off the next one just as normal. But in the back here, you'll see we had to swap from powered rails to activator rails. And that's because we only want these observers to trigger once the minecart already goes by them, right? So if we had all these as powered rails as well, as soon as the minecart gets here, it would trigger all the ones in front of it, which means it would reset the filters before the filter items had time to come above and drop down. So basically we're having the minecart go past and trigger the ones behind it and not trigger the ones in front, and then it goes past these ones and triggers the ones behind it. And if you made it even longer, you would have to swap back to powered rails here. Now in Bedrock, these observer clocks don't seem to work to slow down the carts. So I honestly don't know what the best bet is, but this is kind of my suspicion, is just using a very simple system like this and just spacing out powered rails far enough that it slows the cart down considerably. And just, you're going to have to tweak that. I don't know what the exact proportions are going to be to make that work perfectly. So somebody's going to have to test that out, and maybe they'll post it in the comments below. So the last few things you want to do before you're ready to test is make sure all of the droppers down here are empty. Because if you broke the system and there's some stray items in here, they're going to be shot back into your filters, and then your filters are going to be misconfigured. So make sure all of those are empty, and then come back up here and you're going to want to double check all your filters. And they should all be set to have 3 unstackables and a total of 55 16 stackable items. So here we have 3, 49, and 6. And if you're just disabling a slice, you can just put 4 unstackables in there, and that will disable it. If you put too many in, then it will actually overflow in the back here, and you'll end up permanently like disabling adjacent slices, which is problematic. one other issue we have here is at the top of the dropper elevator. If you have droppers that output directly into this slice right here, sometimes the droppers can output fast enough that the hopper below here is on cooldown when they output here, and then this one will immediately pass it along to the next slice, which means it will get passed back to the overflow over there. So you got to make sure you have at least one hopper facing into this as a buffer. And for this system, in my demonstration, I have two, but you need at least one there. That was a kind of a rare issue, but I did see some people having that. And yeah, anyway, I don't know why I just got faced precisely down there. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope these help, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.